One take, one take, one take, one take, Tuesday! So, Ryan's a cool guy. He's by the name of Nerf for some reason. I don't know why. I haven't asked him. Maybe you should. That would be a good idea, because then you'd actually have a legitimate answer. But we have another game here against him, because I don't have anything else right now, and I am intending to stream, so I'll probably be doing that when this video is up. So maybe you should want to check the description, or I might upload a streaming video, who knows. But well, this game here, I basically recently had bred a Milotic, and I also hadn't really used my Salamence that much, because I made one, a DD one, and it's not that good, because I mean, it's like back in the Diamond Pearl days, because didn't have access to Outrage and everything, so it's like D-Dance and like Dragon Claw, but it's not like the old classic Mariland one, because that one just doesn't quite cut it anymore, let's just say. But anyway, I'm going to lead off with Breloom, who haven't quite been able to use that much yet either, and doesn't really get a huge amount of play in this match. But versus a Trevenant, I'm not staying in. Obviously, it fucking just completely destroys me this gen, because, like, so many factors. It's immune to one of my stabs, resists the other one, and is a grass type, so I can't spore it. So, like, many reasons why I'm not going to stay in there. I'm going to go straight into Houndoom, and I get the Flash Fire boost, then go for the Fire Blast on the incoming Gastrodon, which does utterly nothing, and Ryan was just fucking laughing his ass off. I was like, are you serious? That's a Flash Fire boosted Fire Blast from Houndoom with stab and everything? I'm like, you are so specially defensive, it's not even funny. It's so clear that he's max special defense. But at least I get the burn as kind of added bonus. But I do go into Breloom. Breloom's a massive threat here. He's going to obviously be able to kill Gastrodon with a Bullet Seed, and knowing that that is the case, he is definitely not going to want to stay in and lose his Breloom. He is going to go into Trevenant, which is why I predict that switch and go into my Tyranitar. However, Ryan, being smarter than the average bear, hey Canada, is going to predict me to do that, and is staying in, goes for the Scald, and actually ends up burning my T-Tar and switching. So bravo, Ryan! Round of applause for holding your nerve and actually doing that. Because yeah, I don't know, he read me pretty well there, so now I'm kind of screwed. I guess I can stay in here with T-Tar, because now that it's burned, it's kind of useless for the physically offensive stuff, so I'm going to set up my rocks, because those are kind of the only thing I have left to do, while he just recovers back up his HP, and I guess kind of scouting to what T-Tar set I am, and whether I can really threaten him, like whether I'm specially, but even if I was specially offensive as well, he still would be able to take the hits really well, because he is max special defensive investments. So I'm going to switch. After my rocks have gotten up, I'm going to Ment, and I go to do that because I think that he may want to go for the Earthquake, and if he does want to Scald, and then maybe I won't get, you know, burned. And I was kind of risking it a little bit, but he again makes another very nice play. It predicts me to do such a thing, and goes into his Greninja, which fucking horrible Pokemon. Oh my lord, Greninja is such a threat, because it has stab on everything, literally has stab on everything, and you have to just kind of play the odds. With Life Orb, it can kill a lot of stuff, and it's fucking dangerous. But the nice thing is that I do have Sandstorm, and he has Life Orb, which means that over time, as long as I kind of keep T-Tar around, maybe to keep bringing it in to refresh the Sandstorm, he will be chipped away. The only issue obviously is that I don't have a good switch into Greninja, so I can't keep T-Tar around. He has to be death fodder at some point, and it's just going to be now, honestly. I'm just going to leave it in, because U-turn's kind of the main play he's going to be going for, and it gives me a nice opportunity to switch in what I want to, because he has the disadvantage here. He's going in blind. He sends out Trevenant, thinking, you know, maybe that'll be a helpful thing to do, but turns out that I am able to bring in my own thing to destroy it, which is a Houndoom. The Mega Houndoom, thunderous indeed, is very dangerous and hot and spicy, but even the hottest spices are not going to do anything to Gastrodon. I mean, it's already burned, and it's still sitting there like a blob, like nothing's happened. Dark Pulse is definitely the better play, just because it's super effective on Trevenant anyway, and I think that it's going to do decent damage to the Gastrodon. There's also the chance, after he switches in, has taken a good amount of damage, I can flinch him and then get the 2-hit KO, which is what I was kind of going for. Additionally, he can't kill me with one hit, I don't think, because he's burned, so that if he has Earthquake, that's not going to do that, and Scald, I can definitely live at least one, so that's what I'm kind of aiming for. I'm really just playing the war of attrition here, and hoping that I'll be able to get out of this scot-free. And it turns out that yes, I should be able to, because I managed to end up getting a crit. I'm not sure how hugely it mattered. I think maybe I could have 3-hit KO'd him there, especially seeing as how much the other one did. But yeah, he's really at a point where he can't really switch to anything defensive, because his only other defensive thing is weak to my Dark Pulse, so he has to fodder Gastrodon, which is perfect. So helpful. And that's great. It's out the way. It means that Trevenant's going to be so much easier to take down. But in comes Greninja, and yeah, my real best play here is to go into my Milotic. Milotic is the one thing that can stop Greninja unless it's carrying HP Grass or Grassnot or something along those lines. And I'm hoping that Ryan isn't, because he's running the U-turn variety, so I'm guessing like Surf, Ice Beam, U-turn, and then Dark Pulse probably is going to be his set. So I'm not really fearing the Grass move, which is ideal in many instances. Going to be able to Hypnosis on the Switch. And now this Milotic, I do this a lot with my Pokemon. It happened with Gliscor. Like, I end up having those level up moves on them, and I'm like, yeah, you know what, I might just keep that and see how I do with it. Like with Gliscor, it was knockoff, and I decided I'm going to keep knockoff. That might be quite cool, and it's ended up working out pretty nicely for me. In this case, I decided to give my Milotic 2 status moves, so I made it a dual status tick. That sounds really strange, with Hypnosis and Toxic. And funnily enough, I don't know what it is, but I got pretty lucky with Hypnosis here, and it actually hit the Metagross, meaning that I'm essentially able to 3-hit KO this thing. I'm gonna get a crit here, but that doesn't matter one bit. Doesn't matter one bit, laddie, because I would have been able to kill him regardless. But fantastic, Metagross out of the way. I'm all for that. I'm all for it. Now here, I kind of guess make a bit of a misplay going for the Hypnosis. I probably would have much rather Toxicked and then switched into something else to either force the Trevenant out, like my Houndoom, or gone into something else to try and set up on it, potentially, you know, Salamence, although that wouldn't have been the best of ideas because he still has Will-O-Wisp sticking around. But what I don't want to happen is to switch into something and have him wake up and go for the Will-O-Wisp, because I'm thinking that that's the most likely scenario. Though he would give me the Marvel Scale boost on my Milotic, I'm thinking he would rather get the residual damage going, which is why I'm staying in here and Scalding. And though it looks kind of dumb, like, I'm just taking precautions really. I'm like, god damn, why don't you just wake up so that I can switch out safely, knowing what kind of move you're going to be going for. And that's really the case here. So he's continuing to stay asleep. I don't know when he's gonna. There we go. All right, finally out of the woods, and ends up going for a Horn Leech, which unfortunately kind of undoes all of my Scald work, makes it all useless, which is not the best thing in the world. But hey, it's gonna happen eventually. So. Now I decide the probably ideal thing to switch in is Excadrill, because he went for the Horn Leech, and I was thinking, okay, well, that's probably what he's going to go for again, so I'm just going to stick it with Excadrill, maybe get some good damage going with the Shadow Claw, and that'll be alright, I feel. But ends up going for Leech Seed instead, which I'm like, well... It's just kind of frustrating, because it means that if I try and stay in here and go for Shadow Claw, not only am I likely to get hit by a Will-O-Wisp, but he's also going to be gaining more HP back from the Leech Seed, so I won't make much ground in doing any damage to him whatsoever. So I'm going to double into my Houndoom instead to dodge the Willow, and also put me in a perfect position to take down one of his dudes at least, is what I'm hoping. So I go for the Fire Blast, unfortunately miss it on the switch to Greninja, but what Ryan doesn't know, what I've concealed very well, is the fact that my Houndoom is carrying the priority Sucker Punch, meaning that I'm able to finish off the Greninja, which is utterly perfect. But he goes into Alakazam now, and I really should have been very aware that he wasn't going to be your standard Alakazam. He was going to be a Mega, just simply because he'd seen Sucker Punch, and why else would he go into his Alakazam if not for the fact that it had something that could avoid it, and that, of course, ladies and gentlemen, is Substitute. And at this point, I am shitting my pants. Now, I don't really know why I went for no Sucker Punch on that one to break the sub. I assume that it was because he was mentioning Calm Mind, and I kind of had in the back of my head that he may potentially Calm Mind while behind a sub, and I was not going to let that happen, so that's why I went for the Dark Pulse instead of the Sucker Punch there. It means that I lose my Houndoom because he just goes for the Dazzling Gleam. I'm essentially forced here to go into Breloom to break his sub. I just need to get that thing away and sacrifice my Loom in the process, because otherwise I'm literally not going to be able to take this thing down. It needs to get that sub away, and Mach Punch is definitely able to do that. Even though he resists it, his defense chances are still pretty piss poor. So I now go into my Milotic, which I know can definitely live at least one hit. And Ryan makes an essential mistake here by going for the substitute instead of attacking me twice. Had he attacked me twice, he more than likely would have been able to take a single Scald from the HP he was previously at, then follow it up with a kill on the next turn. But instead, he ends up, he ends up critting me, which kind of sucks on my end. But I revenge crit him right back and end up finishing the Alakazam off. What is it with the crits here, man? It's going crazy. I think I crit like 3 things on his team, and he's crit me like twice. Yeah, too much to do. But now he's going to go into D-Knight. And again, I'm not quite sure how confident he was in being able to sweep here, but he seems to not fear the Toxic, that or he didn't think I had it, having only seen Hypnosis up to this point. Maybe he assumed that I wasn't carrying that move and so felt safe going for the Dragon Dance, and also potentially thinking I would Hypnosis and there was a large chance it would miss, which would put him in a real good position. There was also obviously the option that he had a Lumberry and wasn't afraid of any status whatsoever, but turns out not to be the case, as he is poisoned, and that is definitely going to help me take him down. But I go down to the Outrage, which is perfect. I really had to stay in there and force him to do that, because it now allows me to go into Excadrill, who resists and will definitely be able to take one of those. +1, it's going to hurt a hell of a lot, but thanks to the resistance, I'm going to be able to live it and go for the Rock Slide in retaliation, which will hopefully and definitely take Dragonite out, which it does. So great. That thing is neutralized, threat gone. Whew, just Trevenant to go. I think this may be his last guy. So I'm gonna stay in with Excadrill, go for the Shadow Claw here and reveal it to him. And he's like, "Whoa, dude! I didn't realize that thing got Shadow Claw." I'm like, "Yep, it's pretty cool actually. Shadow Claw and Excadrill is pretty fantastic because it allows it to hit those Ghost types that try and so often spin block. And if Excadrill can hit them on the switch, I don't think it 2-hit KOs Trevenant in general, but it does a nice amount of damage, and you can leave them with a Sting before you switch out to something more relevant, which is definitely a great thing. So I am now unfortunately going to be able to go down to a combination of Will-O-Wisp plus Hornleech plus a bunch of different factors, but I have brought his Trevenant down to the point at which I will be able to go into my Salamence, my final Pokemon, who is at an ample amount of HP to survive any hit, take a Will-O-Wisp, whatever. I'll be able to kill him with one hit anyway because I have Fire Fang, and that, my friends, shall end the game. So I hope you enjoyed this one. It was a lot of fun. I like playing Ryan a lot. He's a good guy, and that's pretty much that. So be sure to follow me on the Twitters. I don't say that enough, and you should try and do that because I love the Twitters. I've fucking been tweeting up a storm the last couple of days. You can go check that out all over there, and also you can leave a like. Likes are fantastic, they're great, and they make me smile daily, so that would be good if you enjoyed it, to show in such a way. Otherwise, I'm going to leave you, and that's going to be the video for today, but thank you once again for watching, and I will see you in the next one, whenever that may be. Goodbye.